So I have had about 3 different agencies that all scaled to $50,000 a month. So in this video, I want to talk about the way I did it, like how I even got there in the first place, and the takeaways you can take from that to grow your agency to $50,000 a month as well. When I'm referring to $50,000 a month, this is revenue, but this is cash collected. This is not contracted revenue. Contracted revenue is probably in between 100 to 200 grand, but that is cash collected, but not profits, it's revenue. Profit margins in every single one of these businesses were between 80% to 90%, roundabout, right? Sometimes 75, obviously depends on how many expenses we took on that month, but we had very high profit margins. So the revenue is very close to the profits as well. I've had 3 different agencies get to $50,000 a month. And this happened in the time span of about 2 years. Now, why did I have 3 different agencies doing that amount of money in the first place? I can tell you it's really easy. I had this urge when I was first starting out to always have someone to rely on and to always have someone by my side, to not feel like I'm fully reliable on everything that happens in my business, and this was subconscious, I wasn't aware of this, which always led me to subconsciously seek for someone else to help me, seek business partners. So I've had business partners in the first 2 agencies of those 3, and it never worked out for a multitude of reasons. Doesn't really matter why, but what matters is that I've had 3 different agencies that are making 50 grand a month in the last 2 years. And I know that for a lot of you watching this video right now, you're probably struggling right now. You're maybe making like 5K a month, maybe you're making 3K a month, maybe you haven't even signed any clients yet. Maybe some of you are making 10 to 20K a month, and you want to figure out the next steps it really takes to get to 50 grand a month. In this video, I want to break it down for you very, very, very simply, so you understand exactly what you have to do, okay? First things first, and this is exactly what I did, by the way. This is not something that I heard it in a YouTube video and now I'm gonna tell you that information as well. This is not something that I just fucking made up. This is actually the things that I did to get there. This is actually what happened. This is actually what I did. And so I would recommend you have a listen to it. So the first thing you need to understand is that you shouldn't be arrogant. A lot of people, when they first start making money, especially when they make their first 10 to 20,000 a month in cash collected, feel like they've made it, feel like they've done something, feel like they know what they're doing and they're competent enough to then grow the business further. You need to realize one thing. You are 1000% competent to make any amount of money you want to make. You're competent enough to make $1 million a month by yourself. You can do that. But business is not an if, it's a when. And if you're watching this video, I know that you're not the type of person that likes playing around. I know you're pretty urgent behind your goals, and I know that you really want this and want this fast. If you want this fast, then you have to act and make decisions like it. What do I mean by that? Over the last 3 years, since I started my first agency, I have invested more than $84,000 into info products, meaning courses, coachings, consultancies, mentors. Every time I wanted to get to the next level, I invested money into working with someone that's at that level or above that helps me get there. Because I understand that information is the most valuable thing we have in business. If you have access to the right quality information, you have an edge in the marketplace. And at the end of the day, if you want to make a lot of money, then an edge is like required. It's like a requirement, like you have to have one. So that's what you got to realize. First things first, super important. Now, we now know, okay, quality information is an edge in the marketplace and an edge is required to make a lot of money. Makes sense. So you want to buy your way into getting there faster. You want to buy your way into having systems and the quality knowledge that only people that have already done it have access to, okay? I have, as I just mentioned, invested about 84K. Now, for some reference, because I'm always transparent with every number that I claim, this is about $50,000 that I invested myself, or even like up to 55, I would say like around about $55,000 that I invested myself. And the rest is money that my previous business partners invested into programs that I had access to. So the total value of programs I had access to was $84,000 over the last 3 years. I have in total worked with 6 different mentors slash coaches slash consultants. I have bought 3 high ticket courses. I've obviously been in a lot of communities as well. I need you to realize that this is key, okay? This is really key. And a lot of you guys, you're not as aware of it as you need to be. I'm not saying this because I need you to buy my one-on-one. It's really fucking good, but I'm not gonna tell you to do that because frankly, I don't care. I run my own agency, I make money with it. I don't need to sell the consulting to make money because I make money with my agency. Unlike pretty much every single other person that makes videos like this. I actually run one. And so I don't need your money, but that's a topic for another day. So you need to get help. And it doesn't matter whether you get that help from me or you get that help from someone else. As long as the person you're getting help from is actually qualified to give you advice and counsel. Someone qualified to give you counsel has to have 2 things. First of all, they have to have done what you want to do. Second of all, they need to have a high moral standard. Their moral compass has to be completely, extremely aligned. The reason I'm saying this is because I've learned this the hard way. I have worked with the wrong people before. I have trusted people that I shouldn't have trusted. But the reason I did was because I always believed in the good in people. And I still do. But you gotta realize that you're in business, and in business there's good people and there's bad people, and there's bad people that you think are good people. And so you gotta make sure that that person is actually trustworthy, okay? If they have done what you wanna do and they are trustworthy, then it makes sense to work with them. Which brings me to my next point, investment, okay? So we just spoke about investing in yourself, getting access to quality knowledge, quality systems, and working with someone by your side. Don't buy a course, by the way. Buy one-on-ones. I'm not a fan of group. Like, it's okay, it's good. But the thing that helped me personally the most by far was one-on-ones. So get one-on-ones. Now, one-on-ones are more expensive, and that's a good thing. Sometimes I talk to people that apply to work with me one-on-one, and they tell me that they don't have the funds. And what I tell them is, well, look, bro, like at the end of the day, that's actually not a bad thing. And I'll tell you why. The fact that you don't have the funds means when you invest either way, you're gonna be more committed. Because I have people that come in, they pay to work together with me, and it's like 1/10 of what they have in their bank account. Obviously, they won't be as committed because they don't care as much. It's like a small amount of money for them or a small part of what they have. Who cares? But if it's a lot of money to you, then you're gonna be the most committed. And guess what? Both you and I know the money is in the execution. Meaning, if you don't have the money to invest on the spot right now, that's a good thing. Because when you get the money to invest, it's gonna be very, very valuable to you because you invest a large sum of money from your perspective, meaning you're committed, meaning you execute on everything you're being told, and that gets the result. The point I wanna make is this. There are massive corporate institutions that have cash flow issues and go into the negative sometimes. And I say all of this to show you and tell you that it's normal that sometimes you don't have the funds to invest into something that you know is going to help you grow your business. But guess what? The things that you know are going to help you grow for a fact, that you're completely convicted in, that you decide to invest into either way, are the ones that actually change your life. The investments that I've made within those $84,000 that were the hardest decisions for me to make, because at that point in time it was a lot of money for me, were the ones that got me the best results. Why? Because I was more committed. I executed as much as possible because I knew that I had to do it. Humans, and also men in general, never do things just for the sake of doing it. We do it because we have to. If you had, I can promise you, you watching this video right now, you're not the type of character to be able to do this yet. What I mean by that is, if I gave you $10 million right now, I can guarantee you, you would sit on your lazy ass and do nothing anymore. And that's the issue. The issue is that you're only driven by pain. But you can only get out of that cycle by creating the character that's not driven by money anymore. And the only way you can do that is by increasing the stakes and increasing the pain of what happens if you don't make it, and then you're gonna execute. I'm executing every day because I need to, because I now have a team and my team needs to be paid, right? My team needs to make money. I have responsibility in other things. I'm still in Germany, I have to pay a bunch of taxes. And in Germany, for the ones that don't know, you pay tax on the money you made last year, plus you prepay tax on what you're gonna make in the future, meaning I sometimes have to pay tax on money I haven't even made yet. So like, there's more and more pressure from different parts of the business and my life financially, meaning I don't have the option to say, okay, I'm just gonna chill now because I have a bit more money in my bank. Okay, so you're being driven by pain. To repeat this, so you really have this top of mind. You need an edge. To have an edge, you need access to quality information. To get access to quality information, you need to invest into one-on-ones. Good one-on-ones with people who know what they're talking about. If you don't have the money to do that, good, means you're gonna execute even better. That's number one. Point number two brings me to the execution, okay? The execution part of it. You need to realize that there's a certain energy to the way you execute in business, okay? I'm sitting here recording this video. It is right now 7:30 a.m. in the morning. I'm in Dubai and I stayed up until 2:30 a.m. last night and I woke up at 6. I had maybe like 3 hours of sleep. Why did I go to bed at 2:30 if I knew I had to wake up at 6? Well, I stayed up till 2:30 because right now I'm doing 75 hard. I have to do 2 workouts per day. One indoor workout, one outdoor workout. I had done my indoor workout yesterday, hadn't done my outdoor workout. So at 1 a.m. in the morning, after I had finished my meetings, I went outside and 45 minutes I did my outdoor workout. Like a crazy person. And then I had 3 hours of sleep. I'm sick as well. My girlfriend is ill and I think I got infected by that a slight bit. So I'm feeling sick, I had 3 hours of sleep, yet it's 7:30 a.m. in the morning and I'm sitting here recording a video. The whole point I want to make is that some of you guys just don't want it bad enough. And this is a tough thing to say, but for a lot of people, like for some reference, I spoke to more than 2,500 to 3,000 people, one-on-one agency owners over the last 3 years. And most of them were telling me how one day they're gonna have all of this money. I don't think so. I think most of them are actually gonna end up broke. And the reason being is because they only want to make money for the sake of wearing a watch or driving that car. The issue is that, again, you're not gonna do what I'm doing, right? Still stick to 75 hard, even though you're here in Dubai, have a client project going on and have a bunch of work, and then do a workout at 2 a.m. in the morning. You're not gonna do that and wake up 3 hours later and immediately get to work again. You're not gonna do that unless you're extremely committed. Because I'll tell you what, when you wake up at 6 a.m. in the morning after you had 3 hours of sleep and you're feeling sick, you're not gonna get out of bed because you want to buy the Ferrari. You couldn't care less. You would rather stay under the warm blanket and continue sleeping. The whole point I wanna make is that you just aren't committed enough, man. And you have to have a serious conversation with yourself on whether you actually want this. Because I'll be the first one to tell you in this space, because if you're watching this video, I assume you're quite young, probably in between the age of 18 to 25, you're male, you're probably from a first world country, Europe, USA, Canada, maybe Australia. And you kind of want it, but you don't fully want it yet. Have a serious conversation with yourself and make a decision on whether you're gonna commit to this or not. And if you're not gonna commit, that's okay. You don't need to be an entrepreneur. I'll be the first one to tell you, it sucks, bro. It is not nice. 9 days out of 10 days in the week, you get your ass beat. Because a business is there to solve problems. And when you wake up in the morning, you're gonna be thrown at with a bunch of problems every single day and you have to solve them no matter what. And they're actually gonna suck. But that's okay. You need to realize that's normal. 1 day out of 10, you're then gonna have a bunch of wins. That's how it is. But over time, when you stick with it and you build and you build and you build and you solve problems, 1 day after another, one step at a time, you're gonna get there. I'm not rich and I don't claim to be a millionaire because I'm not a millionaire yet. And I'll tell you what as well, 95% of the people in our space, in our age range, online who claim that they're a millionaire are bullshitting, okay? When I say millionaire, I'm referring to a liquid millionaire, by the way. Not like, oh, I inherited a house from my parents that's worth $1 million and now I'm a millionaire. Even people that make a lot of money, most of them don't even have $500,000 in their bank account. And I know that because I personally know a lot of these people, and I know people that are very high up in the space that know everybody. And they told me that as well. It's like, these people are claiming things they're not, and you guys need to like really wake the fuck up and realize that. Like, people are out here claiming I'm 16 years old and I'm a millionaire. Bro, no, you're fucking not. And even if you make 80 grand a month, you've been making it for maybe like 3 months. And that's not even profit, that's revenue. And you have to pay half of that in taxes because you still live in like whatever, Sweden, Germany, Austria, or UK, or wherever you're based, USA, Canada. And besides that, you splash all of that money on lifestyle. So like, how on earth can you be a millionaire? Now, I'm not saying no one is a millionaire in this space. But what I am saying is that we're playing in a sandpit with a bunch of retards. And what I mean by that is simple. This is not real business. Running a digital agency and doing a bit of marketing for businesses, that is not a real business. Real business is when there's high stakes on the line. When a lot of money is being moved around, you get the point. Real estate, private equity, these things, oil, that's real businesses. This online money space is a bunch of retards, and unfortunately, there's a couple of people who are a bit less retarded who then make all the money, but again, most of them claim they're a millionaire when they're not actually yet. Okay? And a lot of them will make a lot of money and will be a millionaire, sure. I would never claim something I'm not. And I'm the first one in this entire space to say I'm not a millionaire yet. Liquid millionaire, I'm not. I make money, I have good cash flow, I know a thing or two about this, but I'm not a millionaire. And I wouldn't claim to be anything I'm not. But everybody else does, for some random ass reason. And you guys just believe it. It's like, oh, yeah, the guy's saying he's 16 years old and a millionaire, must be true. Bro. Like, do the math. Let's just calculate this quickly, okay? Say they're making $80,000 a month. Expenses and taxes brings them down to $50,000 a month. They're probably spending $10,000 to $15,000 to $20,000 a month on lifestyle. Say they have 40 left. Let's be very conservative. Say they have 40 grand left. Okay, 40 grand a month left. How long does it take for you to get $1 million liquid with 40,000 a month? Well, if you don't pay more in tax, which I do, I pay more than that. If you don't have more expenses than that, which most people do, so this is very conservative, 40,000 a month, it would, I'm not that good at math, but it would roundabout take you, what is that, like 12 to 15 months to have $1 million liquid? So if you're seeing someone claiming they're a millionaire and they haven't been making at least minimum like 80 to 100 grand a month in cash collected, high profit margins, how are they a millionaire? Doesn't make sense. Again, there are people that are, but there are a lot of people that aren't, that claim they are. So qualify who you get advice from, right? I'm not a millionaire. I know a thing or two about this business. I have 3 different agencies that are making $50,000 a month. Cash collected, high profit margins. I actually know what I'm doing in this. But again, don't believe everything you're saying. So to remind you of what we spoke about so far, so you can go ahead and implement this, you need an edge. To get an edge, you need quality information. To get quality information, you need to invest into the right advisor, into the right person to give you and is qualified to give you counsel, okay? Invest into one-on-ones. If it's expensive to you and you almost can't afford it, perfect, that's a good thing, okay? And then be truthful and execute. And if you're not able to do that, have an honest conversation with yourself about what you actually want in life.